There's a man rather, that I have a story about. And his name was Lynn Sullivan. And Lynn Sullivan was trying to learn to trust God. And so he had started a small church of his own in some remote place in the mid-1980s. And the church really didn't have a whole lot of money. And so they got to a point where they were struggling difficulties in the finances. And one week, he says in April, when the ground was still frozen and the snow covered, we were down to a few dollars in the bank. Our usual reaction to that need was to look at our own selves for our own solutions. This time, however, he says, in a stroke of faith, I went before God and told God I needed eggs, bread, and milk, and that I would wait for God to answer the prayer. That afternoon, Sullivan went into his workshop where he had a little shop, a fix-it shop. And a person came into the fix-it shop with a little tea kettle. And he said, I need you to fix my little tea kettle. I know that I can get another teapot, but this is my favorite teapot. Can you fix it, please, for me? Sullivan began to work on it, and it only took a few moments to fix the little teapot and to stop it from leaking. And so he handed it back to the customer, and he said, no charge. It only took a few minutes. And the customer said to him, no, I'm going to pay you something. And he reached into his pocket, and he took out a $10 bill, and he gave it to Sullivan. That $10 was enough money to buy eggs, bread, and milk. And Sullivan goes on to say, as the customer left, with a bit of pride in my faith decision, I thank God, to which he replied, don't you wish you had asked for a half a beef? There are times when we want more than what we have asked for, but we know that God will supply. We know that when we're faithful to our commitment, we know that God will answer our prayer at some point. The Macedonia church knew that as they went beyond themselves, they not only gave financially, but they gave of themselves. That is what Martin Luther King is talking about. That is what Human Relations Sunday is all about. Not just giving money, but giving of ourselves, our time, our love, our resources, our sharing, our knowledge, our eagerness, and our love. As we share all of those things with our world, one by one, little by little, you and I can change our world. We can help those who live in the slums. We can help young men like Tex and Goat and Jeff, who lived in the slums but wanted a different life. We can help them get out. We can make a difference when we see injustice as we stand up and be faithful. I think Georgia Harkness had it right when she wrote the song, The Hope of the World. Hope of the world, though Christ of great compassion, through Christ of great compassion, speak to our fearful hearts by conflict rent. Save us, thy people, from consuming passion, who by our own false hopes and aims are spent. When we go beyond ourselves, extending love, resources, help, we have helped ourselves. Human relations reminds us that when we reach out and we make that difference and that change, we are doing stewardship in the world. Someone once said this about stewardship. Stewardship carries with it the ideal of giving up or giving back, restoring, returning, rendering what is due, paying, giving an account of. It also includes the ideal of handing over or giving up, giving a share, and giving of ourselves. As we care for one another, as we care for our world, as we care for our community, we are the beloved community. And what we do, what you and I do together as people of God, is never in vain, because we're doing what God